I always enjoyed reading history, and for some reason I took a particular interest in Russian history. Obviously that's not what you're here for, or not only Russian history, but one of the aspects obviously of Russian history is the firearms they used. And somehow I was captivated by the whole thing with the Tsarist regime. Actually, I was interested in royalty around the world and how unfair and inequitable things were. Anyway, as the Tsarist regime was failing in Russia, they made an order for Mosin Nagants from Remington. This is well covered by other videos on YouTube, but I mention it because I have a Remington Mosin Nagant in my hands. Actually, it was hard to find, and getting back to what happened, they placed the order, and then I guess the Bolsheviks took over government and didn't honor the contract. So it turned out that Washington had to bail out Remington way back when. But when you're handling your Remington 700 BDL or whatever Remington you own, I'm sure you own at least one Remington, it's hard to believe that they made this excellent Mosin Nagant. And I have also a Russian Mosin Nagant on the table. This is, I forget which arsenal. It has the star. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be a red star on the receiver ring, but it's right there. And when you compare the rifles, you know, I'm sure they were using similar drawings. The date on that Russian rifle is 1934, so I should probably be saying this is from the USSR, which it would have been at that time. Obviously a well-made rifle, and that very old but very reliable system. And I guess in communist systems things don't change unless they have to change. So the Mosin Nagant remain in service forever. But getting back to the Remingtons, I'm not sure where they ended up. I've heard different stories, and even the videos on YouTube vary with what happened to all the Mosins that Remington manufactured. But I thought it would be interesting for you to see one. So here it is, and everything about it is, I have to say, excellent. It's a slightly longer barrel than the Russian version. The action is just as slick as the Russian one, and I don't have any stripper clips. I haven't fired this rifle, but as you can see, there are slight differences. Now, I probably shouldn't say too much because I don't have a matching ear in the Soviet product, but obviously the sling swivels are different. Some of the furniture is different, the rear sight is different, but the action itself is quite similar. You can probably see from the top. I'm always reluctant to move too quickly when we're filming, just so you can get a look at things. I didn't notice any difference in the trigger. It's altogether Mosin Nagant. I don't know about this top wood. It could be that it's probably a replacement. In fact, maybe most things are. The other numbers match, and the sights, well, as iron sights go, they're excellent, and they are on the Soviet version too. The American Mosin has slightly different front sight, as you can see, and just the treatment of the rifle, it varies from the Soviet product. But again, they were separated in time, so it may not be quite accurate to compare them. But the reason, one of the other reasons I mention it is if you come across one of these Remington Mosins, they're highly desirable, and I've looked at the Finnish product, like from Finland. They made some Mosins as well. I like the American one best. It's just so striking to see Remington on a Soviet or / Russian rifle. The bore is slightly worn, but I'm sure it'll be accurate. And this one happens to be almost flat new, so it's good. And then, just for your interest, I have this one, kind of a Bubba gun, but they did a great job. It's a Polish M44. Some people say these are the best made of them all. This one I've shot quite a few times actually. And at 200 yards, I have no problem hitting the steel plates actually every time. Anybody would have the same ease of shooting. Recoil, is it bad? Nothing disastrous. This one would be a viable hunting rifle for sure. It's quite comfortable, and the barrel length is a little handier. Some people, when I show up with one of these, you know, it looks like a broom because it's just so long. But I guess that's what governments thought soldiers needed at that time. Yeah, so that's about it, and the adjustments for the sights are self-evident. I'm sure you can figure out what they're up to there. Beautifully made, beautifully finished. It's obviously seen better days. In case you're curious about the butt plate, that's what that looks like. Anyhow, everything is as it should be, and I really like this Remington Mosin. So I thought I'd share that with you, and we'll look at a few more rifles. I got some Mexican Mausers that I wanted to show you, but we'll wait for the next video. Thanks very much for being here, and I hope that's informative. And if you had any questions, please write anytime. Take care. We'll see you next time.